англійський поки що. А потім вже будемо якось так підлаштовувати. Доброго дня, шановні колеги. Розпочинаємо наш семінар. Це перший наш семінар. Я сподіваюся, що таких семінарів буде більше. Цей семінар ми намагаємося так організувати в співпраці, в рамках співпраці між університетом Комісією едукації народової в місті Кракові в Польщі і вашою організацією, дуже потужною організацією, яка пов'язана з дослідженнями інтелектуальної власності, дослідженнями з кібербезпеки, дослідженнями з різного роду експертизами в місті Дніпро. Ну, напевно, коли ми будемо з вами зустрічатися частіше, ви більше зможете нам розказати про вашу діяльність, про ваші можливості, про ваші потужності, про те, які конкретні дії відбуваються в рамках вашої організації, в рамках вашої діяльності. Я з великою приємністю хотів би привітати шановних колег з міста Дніпра, а мабуть, хтось ще нас долучився з інших міст. Я хотів би представити сьогоднішнього нашого колегу, який буде доповідати за свою тематику. Ну, вже безпосередню тематику він вам розкаже, про що він буде відповідати, розкаже трохи пізніше. Це співробітник, це викладач кафедри комп'ютерної інженерії і кібербезпеки Університету Комісії едукації народового міста Краків, це Патрік Мічковський. Panie Patryku, bardzo przyjemne witać Pana na naszym spotkaniu i już mogę dać słowo Panu. Pan może rozpocząć.
Dobrze. Będę mówił po angielsku, udostępnię prezentację. Jeszcze chwileczkę. Czy jest widoczna?
Tak.
Okay, so let's begin. Hello everyone, witam bardzo serdecznie. My lecture will be in English. Teams allows to set up real-time translations if needed. I heard before that Professor Semenov told about that. So I hope everyone may have this real-time translations in their.
I'm sorry, but subtitles on English.
Subtitles are in English, okay.
Yeah.
Can we fix it somehow?
Super. Now you change to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Panie Patryku, już zmieniono to wszystko. Można dalej. Nie słychać Pana.
Yeah, I was muted. So
Yeah.
translations are correct, I hope. The next thing, the topic of today's lecture is cybersecurity in smart homes. I think it is related to everyone's nowadays, and it will be a short general overview of threats who may be possessed by IoT devices. I'm from University of the National Education Commission. University is in Krakow, and I am working together with Professor Semenov in Institute of Security and Computer Science in Department of Cybersecurity. So hope everything will be fine. So let's begin. The first thing is agenda. We will brief shortly across some main topics, the most important ones. And then I will give some examples, also examples from my personal experience, from our research work. So the first thing will be introduction, the general introduction to IoT, then the architecture, real life examples, risk factors, and the rest. So the first question, the first thing, what is the smart home? In figure 1, we can see the basic draft of the basic image of the home, which may be made and mean by smart. This is usually a house or apartment where digital devices are connected together with various protocols like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, MQTT, or other wireless protocols, and those devices can communicate with each other, collect data, and make decisions to perform actions. And this is, I think, the most important one is that devices can automate the tasks and be controlled. So a good example is for a thermostat that lowers the temperature when you leave home, or the lights that turn on when you enter the room. So another one, maybe voice assistants like Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant that can control with the mobile phone multiple devices with simple commands. These devices usually rely on combination of hardware like sensors, software like automation, communication, and cloud servicing for remote access and data processing. In theory, it should make the life easier and more efficient. It should be pleasant to use. But it means that your home is now a digital system that can be hacked, that can be attacked, misused. So it may generate some various problems. And that's why security is such an important part of any smart home setup. Without it, the convenience can turn into a serious risk. So the next thing is IoT. IoT shortcut stands for Internet of Things. And when we take the residential context, we can know that when we take a closer look about what are the devices that are typically involved in those working scenarios. In practice, we are using a wide range of devices, small network connected objects with sensors, and it may be smart locks, smart bulbs, light bulbs, thermostats, smoke detectors, water detectors, security cameras, power supplies, even coffee machines or fridges. On the figure 1 or figure 2, we can see the image of Tuya provider. This is one of the biggest IoT devices provider in the world, and their portfolio is huge. There are thousands of devices over there, which can be bought in, I think, some fair prices and used in our service. So many devices which are controlled by mobile apps using those assistants, what I was talking about Alexa or Google Assistants. But in more advanced setups, we can control it via smart hubs. which acts as a local brain. It means that we can control our system offline. These network-connected devices creates a convenient living environment and are sometimes fragile to, which may be fragile to attack. Because each of these devices may be a potential entry point for cyber attacks. So the more devices we are adding, the more opportunities we are giving to an attacker to enter our setup. So to better understand the whole scenario, let's go through some specific types of devices and what can they do. We can fall it into main categories. I choose the four most practical ones. So we have security devices. This one are related to security. So it may be smart doorbells, smart locks, motion detectors, door locks, and cameras. And I think especially door locks are very fragile part of the system. I will be talking about door locks more later because someone can just open the home or the flat with the mobile application, which is very dangerous one. The next section is energy management devices. Those devices are made for just counting and checking how much energy does our home uses. It is smart thermostats, smart plugs, and we can optimize our usage later. From my personal experience, this is very interesting interesting group of devices which are a bit underestimated because when we control the flow of energy, the energy management in house, we can optimize our bills for energy users. So the next category is comfort. Comfort is mostly lighting. So smart light bulbs can change colors, can change brightness based on the time of the day of your presence or our presence in home. And the last one is media and entertainment. So smart TVs, voice assistants, speakers, they are always connected. Microphones, they are always connected to the system and are listening for our commands. Those devices are not equal. Some need more software from manufacturers. Some may be connected always to the system. Some may be on the standby and we are using it only when we need. So the problem is also with vendors. We want to sell devices. Companies want to sell devices. So there are a lot of ones which are poorly tested and full of security holes. Some devices even collect and send personal data without proper user consent. It should be accepted, all those regulations, but no, not all devices are using it and doing it correctly. That's why evaluating the security of each device before installing it is very important, both for users and also for people like us for research studies. The smart home IoT devices are spreading worldwide. So before we move to the technical architecture, we can briefly talk about why this topic is so important and why it is becoming so much important and will be more important in the future. So according to recent estimates, we have on figure 3 the chart from Statista. There is over 19 billion connected IoT devices right now worldwide, and in the next 5 years by the year of 2030, this number will reach to over 31 billions, and the statistics are that will be still growing. The significant portion of those devices are used in private homes, so we are using it in our homes. The global smart market is growing steadily, especially in more developed regions like Europe, East Asia, or North America. In some countries, there are more than half of the new homes include at least one smart device at the time of the purchase. Why does it matter? Because each additional device increases the attack surface. The more devices we connect, the more potential vulnerabilities we introduce to our home system, especially when the devices are coming from the different manufacturers, are using different protocols, and don't always follow the best security practices, which I was mentioning a few minutes ago. This trend is not slowing down. That's why understanding the risks and how to manage them is, in my opinion, it is very important. It is very important to know. So after those market grow, I think we can go to more technical one, and this will be the 3-layer architecture, because there are a lot of ideas how to segregate, how to talk about the IoT. So one of this is those 3-layer architecture, which is widely known. Sometimes it is 4-layer or 5, but I think we can stay with the three points. The perception layer, the one from the bottom, is the physical layer. It has sensors for finding, gathering information about the environment, including the ability to identify other smart objects. So those thermostats, those water leak sensors, and all the stuff. So it collects the data physically. Then we go to the network layer. This is the middle one, and it connects those physical objects, physical devices, with the first application layer, which is on the top, and this layer is responsible for actually providing application-specific services to the users. So the way the system works, the device works, is application logic visible in that top application layer. So security issues can appear in every of those layers, and often in the bridge between them, because they has to be connected. They are connected. So the weak device in the bottom can open the door and allow the attack to the application layer cloud interface. So it is crucial to know that we have to think about all those three when we are talking about the security. The next thing, the protocols. There are lots of them widely used in the global communications, but there are some which are used in smart homes. So the first one is Wi-Fi. Everyone knows it. It is very powerful, very fast. The disadvantage of Wi-Fi is drains battery quickly. So it is great for devices which we plug into a power supply, but not good for tiny sensors, for the things which are working on battery, and we want to last them much longer. So the answer for those battery devices is Bluetooth. Bluetooth low energy is very common in in energy optimization, but it works in short range of personal devices. And the other protocol is Zigbee and Z-Wave, and there are also the low energy protocols designed for home automation. They are supporting mesh networks, and devices may rely on data on each other, so they may talk to each other. So I think that the Zigbee devices are very interesting ones, working stable. The last, also the cellular, I think everyone knows the bandwidth from the mobile phones. NFC, we have to connect physically, barely physically. It has to be like few centimeters between devices to make a contact and make some actions. It is good for using for opening the doors, for example, or checking in. And the last one is MQTT. It is a bit different because it's not about the physical connection. It's about messaging protocol. It's about converting the messages into actions. So it is used in smart hubs, in cloud platforms, and it is exchanging commands and data from our device to the automation system. Each protocol has trade-offs, and in practice, many smart home devices are using several at once. It is very different to choose the one protocol which is the best for our home usage. It's like one of protocol may be better for one type of device and not the best for the other one. So we have to trust a bit the manufacturer that they are choosing correctly, or have some basic knowledge how to choose it right to make your home as secure as possible. Talking about the processing model, we can ask, where is the brain of our smart home system? And it also depends on processing model. We can choose hybrid ones, but I will skip the hybrid ones for this presentation, and we will talk about two major ideas how to make it. So the first one, cloud connected systems. Most logic happens on remote server, device rely on internet, and if the connection fails, we might lose control. The pros of this approach is everything is set up in the cloud. So we can change the application, share the system, install another application, and our internal use is not affected as much while we have some device problems like physically breaking your phone or your router in home. But the major cons of this that is when you don't have internet, if the connection fails, we might lose control. So the answer for this is the green one on the right. It's offline system which provide privacy and reliability. So we have a center controller, smart hub installed inside the home. So we have to set up by ourselves. It handles automation and communication locally, and it means the faster response because in local network the response time is much better than through the internet, and better privacy. But the main disadvantage one of it is it requires more setup and some technical knowledge, but it is more recommendable when someone wants to have the better level of privacy. There are some solutions for it. For example, Home Assistant, which is selling devices for I think is about 100 euro, and it works offline and it is already set up. So it is the fair choose between those cloud connected system and offline system with the minor of setup. So, and as I told at the beginning, the many modern setups uses a hybrid approach. So some functions run locally, other in the cloud, and it is also a good idea to connect those two worlds at one system. The problem with vendor lock-in, as I said, we can choose offline system, cloud-based systems. We can choose very wide range of devices, and those devices are deeply tied to a vendor ecosystem, because every manufacturer wants to have their own ecosystems to make the user buy mostly devices from that manufacturer. So we can choose from the open ones and the closed ones. This is the same situation. The open one, the platform of control may be Home Assistant or Open Hub. It is open, which is good, but it is harder to set up. And there are closed ecosystems like Google Home or Apple HomeKit. It is very user-friendly, very well integrated, but they depends heavily on the vendor's infrastructure. And we can use only the certified devices, and we are tied to the cloud services. Our level of control is fairly limited. Yeah. There are user control flexibilities. I think full access, local control, modifiable. I told before, controlled by vendor. Yeah, that's the whole idea. The data processing place in open ones are mostly local. On the closed ones are cloud-based. And the updates. Updates is very fragile topics because we want to have updates as long as possible. This is the same situation as in when you are using the Windows platform or macOS platform. There are updates every maybe few months. It is crucial to install them also on smartphones. So we have in Android we have a support of 3 years, sometimes 5. In iOS, it's more like 5 years. So it is the declaration of the vendor that the device will have software updates every time the security flaw will be found, or every time the new features will come. So I highly encourage to install updates on phones, on computers, and also on smart devices, because it is better to follow the newest software version than keeping the old version, which may be dangerous and easy to attack. So also in companies there are IT sections for it, and they should keep the updates actual. So going to the classification of threats, yeah, we can dive into a cybersecurity more. And when we are talking about it, we can classify it in a few ways. I choose the model of CIA. It's the model which is based on 3 or 4 sections. The first thing is confidentiality. It is about data leaks from cameras, microphones, or smart assistants. And attack mechanism is intercepting network transmissions or thieving the credentials. So the impact for users is disclosure of residents' routines, locations, sensitive personal information. The next one is integrity. Integrity is the manipulation of sensors while reading something or the behavior of device. So the mechanism of attack is tampering firmware, spoofing communication, and unauthorized configuration changes. It is impacting false alarms, misleading notifications, and the environmental control disruption. The third and the last one is availability. It may be denial of service because of jamming the transmission. Network may be overloaded. We can lose the access to the service or automation functions. Privacy. Privacy is not the official part of this model, but it's important to say. It is misuse or unauthorized access of analyzing our personal data. So it is harvesting all the metadata, profiling, user tracking, and all the stuff which we want to avoid because it may be impacted with privacy invasion, targeted advertising, some manipulations with behavior, with visibility of ads, and potential blackmailing. So maybe we can go through the most important local network attacks. Those attacks may happen inside the local network because many users completely may overlook it. People often think that their home Wi-Fi is safe because it has a password, but once an attacker gets an access, either by guessing a weak password or using a social engineering, then they can do a lot of damage from the inside. So it's the next thing, very important one, is to keep your Wi-Fi password safe. It doesn't have to be that long, but it should contain few words connected together, and we should keep it private, not share it with the others, because once you are inside, it's much easier to make some harm in your device, in your home devices. So the first one is Wi-Fi snipping. So when devices communicate without proper encryptions, which many devices do, the traffic may be analyzed with third-party attacker, and those data may be used for those privacy issues. The more advanced one is the man in the middle. This is when the attacker positions between a device and the router on the cloud. So that's why it is called man in the middle, because we have a device on the left side, the cloud router on the right side, and we are put into the middle of it. And as in Wi-Fi sniffing, we are trying to first hear the communication and then inject false data or change commands to have our own for example, blackmailing process. It may be also related to collecting credentials, which may be used for entering our accounts or something like this. So default credentials in the Wi-Fi is a very common scenario. It still ships with usernames like admin or password or 1234. So if user doesn't change them, anyone who is in the same network can access device settings. So the next thing, which is very important, to change the default credentials, change the default passwords, do not use them anymore. LAN scanning malware, when our laptop or our phone are infected, someone can scan our local network, look for open ports and all those stuffs. And finally, signal jamming. It requires physical presence. So this is the physical layer attack that uses radio interface to disrupt communication. So all of this happens without need of attack the cloud. So those system cloud layer may be that secure enough, but those local network attacks may be done because of the lags in our internal configurations. We have cloud and API based treatments. So the other thing is the programs with the cloud. So those services allow us to control device remotely, receive notifications or view the camera footage, but they also need new layer of security because it provides the new attack surface. Many APIs are not properly secured. Some accept unauthenticated requests. Others lack rate limiting to allow token reuse. And those one may be exploited to gain access to device functions or user data. Session hijacking, when the authentication tokens are not managed correctly, an attacker can reuse the old token and access the device, access the application. Mobile apps are often the part of the problems. They may request permissions for far beyond what they need, because there are lots of scenarios when we are launching those smart home applications, and it asks for access to the microphone, for access for camera localization, access for our phone book, or receiving SMS data, which creates unnecessary privacy risks, because not always every of this permission is needed to fully use the service of the device. And the last one is vendor level compromise. So when the vendor's own infrastructure is compromised, the attacker may gain access to hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands devices at once. And it is this also happens multiple times, I think, in the past. So those cloud-related risks are not just theoretical; they are real. They are affected, and do not be the users who believe that you have nothing to hide. It is also better to do not give them access to your home network. One of the biggest problems is the price of the device, because sometimes they are that cheap that they are insecure from the start. So when we take it out of the box, it is already insecure. So it can include those hard-coded credentials that I was talking before. It can be made of outdated software libraries, because manufacturers often don't follow the secure deployment, the secure development practices, especially in those low-cost devices. So be sure to know that those devices you are buying should have the OTA, it's over-the-air updates. So device should be updated remotely, because it can update the vulnerable level of your home. And then after those technical details, we can pass through some examples from our digital world, which took place few years before, and are known now as this black scenario, this not go to idea with with device. The first one is Mirai botnet. It marked a turning point in the history of IoT because it was built from the insecure smart home devices, IP cameras, DVRs, routers, and all of those devices were connected to the internet and used those factory default usernames and passwords, like admin. Once infected, those devices became part of very large-scale DDoS network attack that attacked DIN, which is a company, the DNS provider, and it caused massive internet outages. So there were major services like Twitter, Netflix, Spotify, and Reddit. They were they were affected by that attack, and it is strongly recommended to take some lessons from those Mirai botnet. There are a few articles I was basing on understanding the Mirai botnet one. So the key takeaway from it is that we are using consumer-grade smart devices because we don't have another options, but when it's not properly secured, it can become a weapon in global scale cyber attack. The next thing is TP-Link. Maybe you know the company and those TAPO devices. This is very recent case from 2024, and it was involving a popular brand. Researchers, because those security flaws was started by researchers, analyzed various devices from the portfolio of company and discovered few problems in the whole product line. So attackers could extract users' credentials, once again, Wi-Fi passwords, and even cloud access tokens. Some attacks work across device types, and some, mostly, I don't know how many devices was affected with it, but as far as I remember, there are lots of it in those TAPO series. This case is very alarming because affected products are widely available, affordable, and often used with non-technical consumers. But also the TP-Link company made some fixes and software updates to get rid of this found security hole. The next company which was affected, it's Evocas with D-Bot. It's a vacuum cleaner robot. And this case made headlines and caught the public attention because it was both technical and absurd. Users of those vacuum cleaners reported that their devices were speaking offensive language, chasing pets, or playing the loud music, and it turned out that attackers were exploiting weak account passwords, once again, those weak account passwords, and those robots that there were internet connected were the potential entry point for attack. So it seems funny, but the implications were serious because it is the physical device, it is operating in private home and being controlled by the stranger. Also, the vacuum cleaners have cameras now, so someone may see what is happening inside the home. It is very, very dangerous threat. And also now it is fixed, and the security update was made to not to allow that kind of attack anymore. And the last example I want to tell is from the recent history. Is general problem of smart locks, because we have a growing awareness that smart locks remain problematic. Over the last few years, the researchers found a very high number of vulnerabilities in popular models, Yale, August, and some lesser known brands. And some of those devices are using fixed unlock tokens, meaning once someone captures or guesses the token, they can unlock the door remotely. Maybe there are some ideas how to fix it, but those smart locks always, maybe not always, but in the major cases may affect physical attack, because someone may enter your house without breaking the lock, just open the door and enter inside. So the lesson here is simple: smart doesn't mean secure, especially when critical systems like door access are involved into a topic. So why are smart homes vulnerable? Because we are developing it from years. We have a level of awareness. I think the good level of awareness, and it's still attack ready. So the first thing, I think it's a technical one. It is the technical issue. Many devices use unupdated, not updated protocols. They have lack of encryptions on the run of the audit. But it is also economic. Manufacturer prioritize the speed, the cost, the market share over security. It's much easier to create cheap device, to ship cheap device, to sell cheap device, than make the update mechanism or provide the long-term support. And the last thing is a human factor. It is always playing a major role. Using misconfigured devices, reusing the passwords, not changing the default passwords, trust the default settings, and all the stuff which is related to our behavior. It is also a big risk factor with our smart setup. So it is very challenging to make those security in the well level. The short breakdown of the most common technical weaknesses we encounter in smart home devices. Many of them comes with those hard-coded passwords, so we have to choose the right ones without those problems. Many of devices come with lack of mechanism for updates over the air. Communication is not always often encrypted. It should be, especially in local protocols. So the problem is when someone enters the home security network. The cloud APIs may be exposed to the lack of proper authentications. And the tokens, the authorizations tokens, shouldn't be reused. It should be regenerated. They should have not a long staying duration. It should be changed often. So on the hardware side, developers sometimes leave debug ports open in production units. So there is also often no secure boot, meaning attackers can replace firmware. When you touch the button for like few seconds, it may change the firmware of the device. So when you get the physical access, it's the same situation that we may have with the laptop or mobile phone. When someone gets the physical access to our hardware, it can be replaced with the malicious firmware with the malware, and we can be spied or tracked, or our identity can be stolen. The final section is the life cycle. The life cycle of devices is short. They are often unsupported after 1 year, sometimes only not even 1 year. So when the security patches stops, the vulnerabilities are starting to persist. We have supply chain. We have some risks also from vendors. So some vendors don't manufacture their devices. They are only rebranded hardware. So when devices are sold under multiple names, means that the company doesn't have a control of the updates or control with the software. So that's why outdated software components may be added. The SDKs or the holes in the libraries may be visible, and the company doesn't know about it because they don't using it. There is the problem also with abandoned products, and device may be on sale, maybe in a very good price today, but few months from now, the manufacturer will stop supporting it, will back the sale. So no patches, no updates, not even a support page or instructions. So we are staying with this Vidmo abandoned product. From our perspective, it may work, but it is frozen in time with its software and hardware. So there are another components and other problems that are very hard to solve, but they are explaining why we are seeing the same classes of bugs over and over again, even in brand new devices. We can pause here a bit with those technical examples, and I want to show the triangle of security versus usability versus cost, because in the real life, usually you get only the 2 of 1. So if we put the IoT, our home device, in the middle, we have to choose between those three sections. And when the vendor focuses on security and usability, they are mostly end up with expensive product, which is great, but less competitive in price sensitive markets. So if they optimized cost and usability, which is also very common, security takes a back seat. So that's why ending up with devices with the lower shelf are easy to install, cheap to buy, but it's vulnerable out of the box. So also we have the connection with security and usability, but it often leads that the products are hard to use because it is not functional, not that functional. It mostly requires the manual setup, lack plug and play, just taking out of the box and running it. So it may be harder to use with just normal users. So that's why we have to remember that usually we can get only those 2 options in this. The human factor. So far we talked about the vulnerabilities in firmware, APIs, in the cloud, but there is very important to know that technology is not the insecurity alone. People are the problem also, because in typical smart home, the person who is managing the system, the owner of the home, is not a trained admin. It is usually the just normal regular user, but when when it comes to setting up the network, the devices, without the proper training, it may be ended with some default settings that make some insecure choices. So manufacturers also often assume that the users will read the documentations, will change the passwords, will configure the settings, but we know how it is in real life. It doesn't happen in practice. So attackers don't require advanced hacking skills. Sometimes they rely on the basic mistakes, those unchanged default settings, reused credentials, or permissive sharing with the accounts. So when we are talking about the smart home security, we can stop at the encryption and the firewalls. We have to talk about the users, we have to talk about the education, defaults, and also the UX design, because this is the real system problems. The most boring vulnerability in cybersecurity in general, not only in smart homes, it's putting the passwords in the sticky notes and taking it and putting it on the monitor, on the keyboard, on the desk. So this is one of the most effective attack vendors, when someone just physically can see what is the password. So the huge percentage of breaches, someone just reused your password. So remember to not send the passwords via the email. Do not have only the one favorite passwords. We should rotate it. We should use password managers also when it comes to the access to the smart homes. We should remember that unless we change it, it will remain one of the easiest and most scalable attack in the surface in whole technology. The next thing is misconfigurations. Sometimes users have a good intentions, but misconfiguration is a major and also invisible source of the risk in smart homes. Some people just assume that if something just works, it may be left like that, but we should read the documents, we should read the tutorials, how to install it, how to set up it. Do not trust the just taking out of the box and putting it into an energy source. The next thing is privacy trade-offs and the data leakage. Security and privacy often go hand in hand, but they are not the same. Many smart home users don't realize how much the behavior and context data the devices are collecting. So it is not about what the device does. It's not about what the device are doing. It is also about what the device is learning from the owner. The motion sensors can track and can watch our move in our home. Smart plugs can reveal the appliance of use when he's using. So the attacker may have information when we are in a home. So data which is used to improve the services, the collecting the data in the background, to the cloud analytics, to the AI model trainings for the marketing segmentations. Yeah, the privacy is very important to remember when the data is shared with the third-party service providers. We have to remember that saying I have nothing to hide is not a good idea. The risk isn't necessarily that someone will spy on you, but the problem is that your home may be an input to a system that you cannot control. So the system can fail, can be hacked, can be misused, and we have to remember that we should keep the ownership, keep the connection with with our home. This life cycle abandonment. This is the things I was talking about before, because there are no security defaults, no updates, the short life cycle of the device, and the cheap devices also may have disposable security. We have to remember it when collecting our stuff. The closed ecosystems, which is very easy to use and very pleasant to use, do not give the access to firmware, access to logs, and users, we cannot audit the device, we have to trust. The cloud platforms are locked, so it is only dependent on the vendor infrastructure. We don't have tools to make it running. When the manufacturer will close it, it will be just out of service. So it's important to remember that APIs, which is hard to verify, and we have to know that security through the obscurity is still a common model in business. So what does the security actually mean? It is the property of the entire system. It's not the component, it's not the one component. It depends how the device is designed, how it handles errors, how it updates. It is also related to the user, to our setup, and how transparent is the vendor, how it is resilient, how it is designed to keep it running in the future. So in the other words, security is not something we are adding. It is something which is it is not something we are adding at the end of our configuration. It is something which is the whole process of setting, just from the beginning and to the end of leaving the device, because there are very lots of security issues which may be involved into an attack. We have an onion architecture when we are talking about the security. So there are levels of defense which is using. So the first thing is the user behavior. The next thing is device hardening, the local network control, the cloud API protection, and the vendor lifecycle responsibility. So what can be actually done? What can we do today to make the things much more safer? For the users, we have to use unique passwords. We have to enable two-factor authorizations. We have to segment our home network with the home network for us and for the IoT to the different ones, and disable cloud access if we don't need it. For manufacturers, they should update policies, they should update their regulations, they should support local APIs and stop locking users into the control only by their cloud. And for us researchers, keep pressures on vendors through disclosure, policy, and standards, and those design defaults to become a standard in the industry as a baseline for creating a new device. Before buying, the 4 points before buying the device to your home, to the smart home, we should check the update policy and answer the questions about those updates, check the basic protections. We should avoid the locked ecosystems and read the privacy policy carefully, because there may be some red flags over there. So we have to keep in keep the knowledge keep the knowledge about the manufacturer policy. Yeah, and those steps, it is like the shortcut of what I said during the configuration. It's a bit related to those before buying ideas. So we have used passwords, enable two-factor authentications. I strongly encourage to enable it in your private also email, in your private accounts, because it's much safer to use. Segment devices from keep using two networks in your home, one from IoT, one for your private devices. Disable unused services. If something is not used, it doesn't have to be enabled. Keep devices up to date and only buy from trusted vendors. It is much better. So security is not optional, it's foundational. And at those two last slides, I have references, which is the articles, the research I was basing on during the presentations. During the presentation, so thank you for listening, and maybe you have some questions or some things you want to ask.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Patrick. We can send our presentation, our report to colleagues, to their colleagues in Ukraine. Maybe their colleagues have some question about this presentation, about these articles, about this report. If you will be some question, we can answer this for this question. Used some email maybe, but we maybe we can meeting with you next month maybe. Okay, thank you very much, dear colleagues. Дякую велике, шановні колеги, за нашу зустріч. Це така перша пробна, мабуть, зустріч в нашій співпраці. Сподіваюся, що такі зустрічі будуть відбуватися більше. І дякую велике за час, який ви мабуть, потратили на наше з вами спілкування. Я зараз відключаю наш запис.